So the first slide, we'll change the date to July 10th because that's when we're presenting it tomorrow, or July 11th, I guess. And add Sikender's name under mine.
Okay. How do you spell his name?
Sikender.
Okay. Can you guys see the PowerPoint now? The one I'm editing? No?
Can you not read it or can you not see it? Because it's in your email and you can download it if you need to read it.
Well, I mean, who's making the changes? I can make the changes, I don't care.
You should be making the changes, Abdul. Thank you.
Alright, so Sikender?
Yeah. And then his last name is Shahid.
Look, there should be a list, right?
Yeah.
Okay. See it. No, that's his last name is different right here. Can I copy it? Okay, I can. Has he done anything?
Yeah, he helped me with some VLF stuff.
Okay, that's fine. No, copy paste.
Okay, I don't know why it changed the format, but we'll just leave it alone for right now. Next slide, we don't need to go over presentation content. Let's just proofread it.
I have no clue why it does that. Alright, so the third one?
Yeah. Mission overview, theory and concepts, expected results, concept of operations, subsystem definitions, system level block diagrams, critical interfaces. Delete ICDs in the parentheses.
Like this?
Yeah, and type delete system / from the next line. If anybody else has input, they should either say it or type it in the group chat.
Alright, let me re-invite Hamza. He's...
Okay.
I don't know, I've invited him so many times. Probably the wrong email. Okay, let's just...
Yeah, potentially not. I thought maybe he would join when he got home, but...
No, he sent me an email. So, inviting him right now.
Okay.
Anyways, where's the clicking? Okay, there we go. The PowerPoint. Can you all see the PowerPoint?
I don't know, Chris. Maybe I yelled at him enough and it changed his mind. I can see the PowerPoint, and I can mostly read it. I think if you put it up to maybe 80 or 90, more people will be able to read it.
Okay.
That's for the zoom level.
I already changed that. Oh, okay. I see it.
Yeah.
Technically challenged. Is that good enough? No?
Yeah,
Maybe?
that's fine.
Alright.
Alright, so user guide compliance, delete that.
Where is that? We have a slide for it.
What's that?
We have a slide for it, don't we?
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay, well then I can leave it in.
But it doesn't really has anything on it. I mean, look, I see it.
I can't see it anymore, so I don't know if you stopped screen sharing or what.
I didn't stop screen sharing. I was just going through the PowerPoint pages really fast.
But yeah, so I'm saying that I don't know if any other people can see the PowerPoint, but I can no longer see it from your screen. I can only see the one that I've downloaded.
Okay, that sucks. For me, yeah, for some reason it just goes out of screen share.
Yeah, it might be using too much stuff. Also, somebody else logged in as, I think Hamza logged in as USIP, so that might have been part of the problem. He just quit again, but there were 2 USIPs in here for a little bit.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
I didn't thought that was possible.
I didn't think so either. Alright, so slide 4, let's check that out.
Alright.
So the subsystems that I defined for this project are signal processing and output, which is basically the Arduino and anything that goes on it. The power, which is basically just the batteries and their connections. The telemetry, which is basically just, well, it's the transmitter and it's the ground station and all that good stuff. Which I don't 100% understand all that, but if y'all have anything to speak up about it, go ahead. Or if you have questions, I'll tell you what I do know. Then there's the VLF is another subsystem, which is what I'm putting together, which should be able to fly independently, but I'm also trying to get it to output data so that we can test the transmitter. I can no longer along on the one that I have downloaded here. So I'm on the 4th slide, and I just talked about the VLF. And then the last subsystem that I defined was the radio sonde and the IMET-R, and I grouped those together as a subsystem because the radio sonde is basically a copy of the IMET-R that we built, and we're comparing the two. So I don't see a lot of point in
differentiating that.
Yeah. And since the radio sonde is basically just the weather shield on top of the signal processing and output system, I didn't do a full thing for it. I just had a discussion of the IMET-R and the radio sonde.
Yeah, that's fine.
Does that make sense to everybody else? Alright, let's go to slide 5. The prototyping plan. I basically laid it out for the Arduino, for the VLF, for the battery system, and the power off relay. What they asked for a prototyping plan was it was just a few steps, so that was all I included. Maybe they're going to tell me tomorrow that I need to put more in, and if that's so, then I'll handle that. And then section 5 is the project management plan, which is the organization chart, schedule, the work breakdown structure, which is pretty loosely based on who has actually done what work. And I think it's supposed to have names on it, but I didn't put any names. We'll see what they say about that. Then there's the budget, but just the budget for this project. Please let me know if any of the prices on there are wrong, and we'll figure that out. And then the last thing is a team contact matrix, so everyone will have your name, email, and phone number, so be okay with that and be aware of that. Slide 7 is the mission overview. We've got the mission statement, which for the test flight, our mission is basically just to make sure that the transmitter works over long distances. And then I put some objectives in there. Does it look good? Is there anything else we should include? Is there a typo? Is there stupid wording?
This XMTR is,
Transmitter.
yeah, but
Hopefully they'll be able to know what that is, but if you want to put in transmitter, it's not that big a deal. It's just on the block diagrams and stuff. We should definitely use XMitter to save space.
Okay. I mean, on the block diagram, right?
Right. So transmitter spelled out is fine here.
Yeah.
Alright. Any comments on that one before we move on? So, if y'all are looking at or reading a part that doesn't specifically relate to your section, then you should be thinking about it as, okay, someone's presenting this to me. Basically, I'm presenting this to y'all, and you're telling me whether or not it looks good, whether or not you understand it, whether or not it makes sense. So we'll go on to the next slide here, slide 8, which is the radio sound. I'm not going to read it to y'all. You should read it and tell me if anything raises a logic question, or if you say, hey, that doesn't make sense, let me know. And let me know when you've read it, and let me know if you think it looks good. So type that into the group chat, or say it, whichever one you're going to do. So we're on slide 7, Hamza, or slide 8, sorry. And you should have it, if you can't see it on the screen from Abdul's screen share, then you should be able to download it from your email, because he sent it to all of us.
Let me know how many people can see it.
I can see it.
Okay. Yeah, those of you that cannot probably need a better computer. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it freezes a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of lag.
Anyway, so that's.
Alright, I'll send it to you, Chris.
I can forward it to him.
Don't worry about it. You just, because your computer's doing a lot of processing with recording and screen sharing, so I'll just send it to him. So does it look good to everybody, or is it stupid? Does it make sense?
Okay, cannot see the Hangout.
If you can't see it on screen share, you should, everybody should have it open and download it anyway. So.
I don't think he's on right now. I don't have his Gmail.
Canales?
Yeah. Let me find it. He has a Yahoo one.
Hey, Abdul, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just looked at the email that you sent out. On the couple of pages, they're not edited. Like, you probably forgot to merge that page in.
Which one?
Okay, we'll do it now.
Yeah. Trying to find out the page number.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Just give me the page number and I'll, I guess, edit it. I don't know.
Well, so 15 is one of them, but yeah,
page number in mind, and when we get to it, bring it up. Bring the thing up that we need to change.
Okay.
Okay, so who has read slide 8?
Alright, so Rachel, with
Yeah.
transmitter, I've been talking to Jamie. He's the sales rep from where we're buying the transmitter, and he said that probably in best case scenario we'll receive it on July the 14th.
Okay, I thought we already had a transmitter.
We do, but that's for
That's for the
the
latex balloon.
latex ones.
What is that? Why is it different?
Um, has
It needs
less
more power to transmit over longer distances. At least
exactly.
that's what I think. Yeah.
Why did we order? Is that the XDL Micro?
No. That's a different one. That's the one that Erica ordered. That's for the latex balloon flights.
So what is this other one called?
XDL
Uh,
micro.
no, the one that we already have. I don't know the name of it, but it's in the other lab. I saw it yesterday.
Okay. Um. All right. So what does that mean? How much more power does it need for long distances?
That's something we need to talk to Dr. Bering about. He just sent one line email that said we probably need to do a comparison or something like that.
Trade is later.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, but we have to talk to him about it more. I did email him back today.
So what's the deal with the XDL Micro again?
It could be late, very late.
Well, yeah. So what does that mean? They're saying best case scenario delivery is when?
14th.
Okay, and worst case scenario is when?
No idea, because he was not able to get in contact with the people at Pacific Crest.
So we're talking to a third party company that's talking to another company where they're buying their transmitter from, right? And
Why are we buying this from somebody who's buying it from somebody who's buying it from somebody else?
Because they don't sell it directly, you have to buy it from like a third party company, like
So why
a
didn't we talk to the
distributor.
third party company?
It's a distributor for Pacific Crest.
so they mix it, but they don't sell it. They have distributors.
Okay. We just need to make sure that we're calling them every weekday and asking them, have they heard anything? Did they get it back yet?
I call them every day.
Even if they tell you the same thing every day, then
Just call them
you
again.
have to call them every day.
Yeah, that's wrong.
And preferably in the morning if anybody can. So who wants to be on call them duty? Who's been calling them the most in the past?
Abdul. I can try and call them, but the problem is I'm at work most of the time in the morning, so I can call them later.
So which one of you has had the most contact with the vendor or whatever?
That would be Abdul. Like, actual calling, Abdul. I emailed him once or twice.
Okay.
I can continue calling him. Doesn't really bother me.
Okay. Yeah, if you could call him at like 10 a.m. every day, that would be really cool.
It's funny because he gets to work at 9.
Oh, okay. That's good. Are they in our time zone, or do you know?
Hmm?
Do you know if they're in our time zone?
Then I don't think they're in our time zone.
Okay.
At least I don't think.
Well, they're probably East Coast then. Probably not West Coast.
Yeah.
But, Yeah, just give him a call every weekday, and then we'll call on a Saturday too to see if they're in, if they do any work then, and send me a text every time you get off the phone with him.
Okay, that's fine.
Alright, so, I mean, we just have to kind of continue like we're going to get it, because that's the main point of our project, so if we don't get it, you just tell them, hey, we can't do anything.
But even if we get what they're sending, it's just a transmitter and an antenna. There's no wiring with it. So it's like a partial package.
Okay, what else do we need for it?
We need connectors. Connectors from the from the transmitter to the radio. To
Are
the
those
phone.
the $1,100 connectors that we talked about one time?
1100 is the whole package, everything included.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
and that's the other thing. Like when we emailed him, he said you have to buy the entire package. He was not sure that if he could actually take the stuff out of that package and just order what we needed. He
Okay,
was
well, we
gonna.
need everything, as far as I can tell. For
Well,
some
there was
reason, we
some
thought we
stuff in there
didn't,
that we
but we do.
really didn't need.
Yeah, not necessarily everything, because
Yeah.
there were connectors that we can buy off of Radio Shack, but and I guess I'm sure they're charging like double for that, triple for that.
Do you know if she did order it, Chris?
I don't think she did because I talked to her yesterday.
Okay. I think the meeting's at noon. It's a little weird because of the way the time zones are set up. Yeah, it's at noon, our time. Um, so what, do we know what connectors we need? Like what port to what port? For the telemetry?
Yeah, we know what connectors we need.
Alright, so can we buy them from Radio Shack?
We can try.
If we know what we need, that should be a yes or no answer.
Okay.
So they're like specialty cables, Chris? Or are they like RS-232 to something else?
There's one for RS-32 data.
I'm trying to find the email that has all the.
If the cables are ordinary, why can we not buy them from Radio Shack? Or EPO, or Fry's, or some electric parts store?
We probably can. You're right. I guess you can. Okay. Do we have the name?
Okay, so you're saying the connectors are...
Yeah, that's the only thing that's missing.
Right, but the point is that it might take too much time to buy the connectors from I'm not, like, money is not my concern right now. If it takes $1,100 for us to get these cables and connectors and everything we need to be able to transmit data, and we can get it in a reasonable amount of time, then I don't care how much money it costs. But if it's going to take us an extra week to get through the ordering process and get them to send that to us, then that's what I'm concerned about. So what's y'all's opinion on that?
I'm concerned about time.
Would asking them for the cables and the whole package and everything they offered us in the first place?
I'm sorry?
So, okay. Would buying the kit delay the order?
So it probably might. I have been calling Jamie, and he kept emailing them, and they're not responding him. So
You kept calling who?
Jamie, he's the sales rep,
Okay.
he's the distributor, and and he doesn't know a lot, but he says the company that's providing us the transmitters, they were off for the whole last week on vacation, and they're just catching up with emails with him and just taking long.
Yeah. And I'm not convinced that they've even put it together, Chris. Let alone shipped it.
Last time, I guess last week on Friday, that's the last time I heard anything on the status. He said that they had it on their desk and it has to go through another company, which is Jamie's company, and so he hasn't received it yet.
Jamie, the sales rep who doesn't know very much?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Are you going to be in the lab tomorrow morning, Abdul?
not morning, but I'll be there. We have a software meeting around 5, so I'll be there.
Okay. Alright. If you can get there at 4, is that possible? Or I know you have work.
I have work, but I can try. It shouldn't be that much of a problem, I guess. I guess I can try.
I guess the main thing, don't worry about it that much. Just go to the software meeting whenever you need to. Just try to give them a call sometime tomorrow and ask them if it would delay our order by ordering the full package that they offered us in the first place. And if it will, then we'll talk about it some more. But if he says it won't, then just tell him we'll pay for it and try to figure that out. And then I
Yeah,
guess
that's what Jamie is trying to figure out right now. He hasn't given me a call yet. I called him yesterday, and he said he's going to give me a call whenever he finds out. Um, and I'm going to call him again tomorrow as well.
yeah.
So he's trying to figure that same question out since last week.
Which question?
uh, would it delay if we change in order? Would it delay the shipping date
Okay.
if we make any changes to the order?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So that's we can't really move forward on that conversation anymore. So let's get back to the PDR.
Okay.
So does this slide look good to everybody? It doesn't make nonsense or anything like that. Slide 8 is the one that we're on. Alright, let's check out slide 9 then. So this is the VLF stuff. Let me know if this makes sense. Were you saying there was a problem with this one before? Or that it had some information somewhere?
Not this slide per se, but some of the VLF slides.
Okay.
They were missing information, the one I had, so I copied the ones from Hamza's.
With your low pass voltage. Nearly this exact device. Conventional. Alright. So this slide makes word sense to everybody in science sense. Okay. I'm waiting on you.
Sure.
Well, Chris said hang on, so.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay. Add the W to low pass. Abdul, can you add a W to low pass?
Yeah, sure.
And then Chris, is there anything else you see?
Where's the W?
Under how in previous results,
Oh,
the voltage is proportional to goes through a low pass filter.
low pass filter time derivative of wave magnitude field in the air.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful. Alright. See?
Yeah, okay. You and I should talk about that later, Chris. Alright, so next slide.
Okay.
It's the concept of operations. Everybody read through it. It's basically a timeline versus altitude chart of what's going to happen, and it should have any special events labeled.
So 10 is 10 hours?
Yeah,
Okay.
10 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds.
Okay. So after 2 hours, less than 2 hours, everything's gonna start monitoring data? 2 hours.
Well, my plan was for it to start monitoring data as soon as we launched it. Like, we just turn it on and it's recording.
After like 5 minutes.
Well, so like we turn it on before we launch it was my plan, because that's the easiest thing to do. If we need to figure out stuff about how to get it to turn on remotely in the air, then that's something else that we need to figure out.
I can do that. Well, I wrote the code for it already. But it needs to be powered through Arduino in order for that to happen.
Right. So we plug the battery in.
Well, weather shield we can turn it on and off whenever we want, since it's powered through Arduino, right? And the GPS shield.
Right. So, but like that. So there's only a few things that are using power here, and that's the radio sound and all that stuff. Like, there's only a few stuff that's drawing power from our power banks.
The GPS.
It's basically just the Arduino and its associated stuff,
Right.
including the weather shield. And then I have one amplifier that will need some power, but I don't know how much. I thought it would be small, but I'm hearing more that it might be big.
We can buy a bigger battery and then you can.
Do we know how much the current batteries that we ordered weigh? Like, just total? Even if we bought extras?
We bought extras?
I have no idea.
Well,
We don't know how much they weigh, though, apparently. Abdul, can you add the email I put in the chat?
Yeah, that's what I was doing right now.
Alright, thanks. Okay, why don't we know how much the batteries weigh? Or are you just saying you personally don't know?
I didn't order those. That's my
Yeah,
excuse.
I was asking Chris. Alright. And so nobody here knows how much the batteries that we purchased weigh?
Not yet.
Alright, does anybody else have any other questions about that slide? And Daniel, did you get the slide in your email? Like the PowerPoint?
About to check. Okay. Looks like I got it.
Alright, we're on slide 10 of that. And then you might be able to see it in the Hangout screen share, but sometimes it goes in and out, so everyone should have it open.
Did it went out again, or?
No, it's there now.
Okay. Yeah, let me know when it does that. Just,
Yeah.
it's random.
Do we need Dr. Leffer there to sign our stuff?
Far as I know, to order stuff, we need either Leopard or Bearing to sign it off.
Right. So, I mean, you can... I would suggest... Do we have order forms right now that are filled out, but they don't have a signature on them?
Pretty much, they're on that
Alright,
table.
y'all need to call... Whoever originated that order form, or order forms, need to call Dr. Bering tomorrow and scan the document, email it to him, call him and see if he can print it, sign it, scan it, and send it back. It might be that he can't do that. It might be that he just can't do it tomorrow and he can do it on Monday. But we need to try to make that happen. So who all has an order form that they need to get signed? And how many? Okay.
I don't have any.
Does anybody else? So Chris has 3 and Hamza has 2. Does anybody else have any? Seems like no. Alright. Just make sure y'all give him a call. Or Hamza, if you need me to give him a call, just send me an email telling me where those order forms are and what they're for and everything. And then I'll get him to do that. Alright, so ConOps, does anybody have any questions about that? That's slide 10 that we're looking at.
I don't see any problems.
Okay. Any questions about, I didn't know this happened? Alright, if you do, ask me about it later. We're going to slide 11. Or slide 12. Which is the system level block diagram. Does anybody see any problems or anything that is left out with that one?
I do not.
Right. Alright, so we're done with that. Does anybody know anything about how the IMET-R works? And Chris, for the receiver, we should put in the same stuff that we had on the other one for the telemetry system, because it's just going to be going to the same Yagi antenna, etc., etc.
They're gonna be sharing the same antenna?
Yes, that's my understanding.
I don't think that's possible, but I believe you.
Okay. I hope it's possible. Or maybe we're going to have 2 of the same type. So if you can copy everything from Yagi, Chris, and then down that line, so copy the box Yagi, receiver, and computer, and then put it all on, replace the quote-unquote receiver box in 13. For the most part, don't worry about sizing and stuff, because I'll figure that out. Just make sure you get the boxes in there and the arrows. And when you get done with all that, delete the whole legend on that right-hand side. That's really superfluous information. It's also not correct, so
The legend.
yeah, just delete all that.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what course of events caused that to still be there, but it's not a big deal. Thank you, Hamza, and thank you, Abdul. Y'all done a lot of work today, and on very short notice. I know some of
Okay,
you.
so that legend is one of the things that was on my slide but wasn't on Hamza, so his
Okay.
was probably the new one.
Yeah.
No clue. So I think someone deleted it, but
Yeah.
I thought that was extra information, so I kept it.
Okay.
No clue. Alright.
Alright, so let's move on with that because we can't really answer that any better than we can right now. So, slide 14. Does this look good to everybody? And by good, I don't mean correct. I mean it makes sense. And if this was being presented to you, you'd be like, okay, I understand what's happening.
For the most part, I see what's going on.
Okay. Alright, that's just a picture, so if you don't get it, ask me a question about it. Or if you think it's ugly, ask me a question about it. But we're going to move on to system concept of operations, which is slide 15, and I don't completely understand it, but when she had it in the layout, it was explained as a step-by-step of all the actions that happen on your payload. And so my thought was that we just turn it on, like before we even launch it, and then so all the data is receiving and it's recording and all that kind of good stuff. And then we launch it, and then the transmitter is sending down, and we don't have any moving parts. So it's basically just going before we even launch it, and then it keeps going until it runs out of battery or we find it. Yeah, remove TEC if it's on there. Shouldn't be.
So we're counting TDC out of the August flight.
Yeah, on this flight, yeah.
Oh, what's XMN to ground?
Transmission. You can put in
Okay.
transmission if you want.
Oh, that's fine. Just acronyms bothers me.
Yeah, it's fine.
Does that look alright?
Go ahead and put in transmitter where it says XMTR, because I say transmitter somewhere else, and it doesn't make sense to have the acronym and then use the word. But I also don't want to start a sentence with an acronym.
Yeah, let's have the acronyms in the block diagrams. Let's not have it on the actual slides.
What's that?
Let's have the whole word in the slides and have the acronyms in block diagrams.
Alright, does anybody have any questions about that? Abdul, you and I should get together and talk about whether or not we should do any remote turning on or not. But that should be a separate discussion.
Sure.
Alright, next slide is 16. And that's the critical interfaces slide. And what a critical interface is something that either physically or electrically needs to be attached to something else in order for the project to work. So things like we have to tape all this stuff together, basically, and that's basically my solution for all of them. I don't know if that's going to fly with them or not, but that's what I was thinking. So if you can think of any other interface names, in the first column, the title says interface. It should say interface with a T. I think I have some questions in there. The VLF thing, I guess I'll have to talk to Dr. Bering about that tomorrow. But
What does it mean? What wired connections to use?
I don't know how physically to take information from the circuit that's connected to the antenna and then put it into the Arduino.
ADC. So ADC is just a couple of wires.
So is it just like a positive and a negative?
It's
Or
actually just one wire. It measures the voltage from one wire.
okay. I guess delete that question then.
Okay.
Alright, does anybody have any questions about these, or do they have any additional ones about, oh, well, we need to stick this thing in there too, or it's important that we have X, Y, and Z connected correctly?
Not that I can see.
Alright, let me know if you have any questions about that. We're going to move on to the next slide. Yeah, it's very crude, I agree. Which is the requirement verification table. So we want the transmitter to produce human readable data, even though it might not be relevant data. So, and that's basically about the VLF experiment. Is that I want it to put something out that will get transmitted down, even though the voltages that I get out wouldn't be enough to tell me anything about whether it's a whistler or what kind of VLF activity I'd be seeing. I don't know what to describe for that. I guess test, but I don't know. I don't know what to put for RS will produce data that can be transmitted and stored. I mean, I guess it would be a test. And I guess in the description we can put, we will try to achieve this on the ground.
So we're comparing them.
Yeah. So just type in, we will try to achieve this on the ground. And that can go in the top one too. Does the wording make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Alright, we'll go to the next slide.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Yeah, so I've never seen the balloon user's guide, and I don't know if one exists, but Dr. Bering told me that we needed to list the rough order of magnitude, mass estimate, and whether or not we had high voltage and any ports that we would have. So that's what I did. And hopefully we'll get some more information about that from them when I present it.
Okay.
So then we're going to get into the subsystems. Does slide 20 with the wording and everything make sense to everybody? It's supposed to be an overview of the subsystem section.
Yeah. Not seeing any.
PDR is a rough draft of your design, but the document itself is supposed to be very put together. So So PDR is like, I've done all my research, here it is, and here's what I think we should do. And I'm going to start building it soon. And then the CDR is, alright, I started building it, and this is what I think we should do. It looks almost like the first thing, but here's some differences. And then the mission readiness review is a third one that we have to do, and it's, here's what we're doing a week from now, basically. Alright, so if nobody has any questions about slide 20, then slide 21 has the system overview. It's just got all the block diagrams on it.
Right. I see.
I haven't, on the power, it says connected in series. I don't know why I wrote that. I meant connected in parallel. And then we should show a ground on the other side also.
What the hell is that?
I put that in. I completely made up the whole power block diagram.
No, not the power diagram. There's something on there.
Yeah, I'm talking to Chris.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So how does all that stuff get connected, and then how do we plug it into the Arduino? As far as I know, does the transmitter do or do not have its own internal battery?
It probably doesn't. Well, it doesn't.
So everybody gets their own battery?
Pretty
Well,
much.
yeah, that's what I came to.
So how many batteries did we order?
Not enough. We have one for Arduino, I think. We ordered it.
Okay. Okay. So all of those batteries, they say X amps, X volts, and X amp hours. Do we know what those values are right now, Chris? Like just what they are off the top of your head. So battery 1, it doesn't have, just pick any battery. You can call it transmitter battery if you want. Okay, battery 1 is Arduino. So delete battery 1 and type in Arduino bat. And that's 9 volts, 50 milliamps.
$50 milliamps?
50 milliamps for the current, and then 600 milliamp hours. Which, instead of saying amp hours, you can call it MAH to save space. Chris, would it be easier for you to do this on your own? Now that you know what it's about? Okay. We don't need to worry about messing with that anymore, Abdul. He'll handle it. So we'll finish up whatever we do here, and then send that to Chris, and then Chris can make his edits how he needs to. So, slide 22, that's the VLF block diagram. Let me know if y'all think that makes sense. and look at different types of batteries, Chris, and compare them? So, like, did you just say, did you do a Google search for batteries and then you clicked on the first link? Or did you look at a bunch of different brands and types and said, alright, we're going to go with lithium-ion batteries because they cost this much and weigh this much and produce this much power for this much weight?
We pretty much looked at the lithium ones, and we found the ones with the highest capacity, and then based off a certain type that we know would be easier to connect with to the wires. Basically.
In my trade study, like VLF,
What's BLF waves in the air?
it's waves, electromagnetic waves that happen in the air.
That's part of your experiment.
You can put it outside if you want.
Okay.
Page 23. Yeah, so that's all made up. I have not finished that. And the numbers are supposed to be ratings. Like, a weight of 10 would mean that it's super duper light. And a battery life of 10 means that the battery life lasts way longer than the other thing. That's what those numbers mean. You can either do it in ratings, like 1 to 10, or you can do actual numbers. They want us to do in ratings out of 10, but I'm not requiring it at this point. So that VLF trade study is not complete, and I need to finish it. And I'll get that in by tomorrow morning. The VLF risks, I need to figure out one more to put in there, but I think I'm okay. Do they make sense, the risks?
So the risk includes the schedule?
Yes. The risk is anything that could make the project not meet its objectives.
Okay.
A fourth risk. Can you open up that and then copy and paste it in the chat? Alright, so if nobody has any questions about the VLF risks, let's move on to the slide 25. Does anybody know if that radiosonde block diagram is correct? Or does it make sense? Is there anything that jumps out as, that doesn't even make sense?
I would think that the sensors would need to be in series, since that's what I heard Erica talking about, instead of parallel, as I see it looks like it is. So maybe that's one improvement, but otherwise, I don't see any other things that need to be done.
Okay. Right. Yeah, all of those sensors are on the weather shield, and really, instead of just saying these things, there should be a model of what each sensor chip is. But I don't know what that information is. Does anybody else know or could get it and then send it to me?
Individual chips inside the radiosonde?
Inside the weather shield.
Oh, the weather shield. Yeah, I guess.
So that whole box is basically just the weather shield blown up. I need to know how that works. That purple box is just the weather shield. And for the IMET R, can you copy the stuff that we put on slide slide 13 and just put it into that gray box? So I don't think we need a box surrounding the sensors, because that whole thing is supposed to be everything that's included in the weather shield, that entire purple box. That's why I have the amplifier that I think is on the weather shield. That would make sense to me. That
I was thinking the radius. I'm mixing radius on with the actual radius on. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
Alright, so you wanted me to make any changes where?
So the stuff that we put into slide 13,
Oh, okay.
just copy and paste that into the gray box. For everybody else who has the thing open, go ahead and start reading slide 26 while Abdul is making those changes. And so let me know if anybody has any questions about that, about slide 26. And at 10 o'clock, I'm going to call it quits, guys, because I'm going to have to go to sleep.
Understandable.
Okay, and I'll handle the boxes of sizes and everything tomorrow.
Okay.
So does anybody have any problems, questions, feedback about slide 26?
Nope.
Alright, look at slide 27. Tell me what you think about that.
I see no problem.
I think risk 4 in the actual yellow and orange blocks should be risk 3. No, in the
yellow.
colored boxes.
Right.
And I'll have to move VLF risk 4. We'll do that later because that's not supposed to be on the slide. But that'll stand out to me. So the next slide is 28. Yeah, thanks. And that's the signal processing and output subsystem, which is the Arduino and all its assorted stuff. That shouldn't say CAN bus. I tried to change it to RS-232. We should go ahead and do that. Change that.
Yeah, I changed that on my slide, but yeah, that's
Well, it should still say Arduino if Arduino made it, but if it didn't, then... Alright, so is there anything missing, or does this make sense? Is there anything on there that shouldn't be there? So if you don't have any input, I guess we'll move on. So I was not part of the Arduino research, but I made it up. So let me know what y'all think about slide 29, which is the narrative, the discussion of how y'all figured out we were going to use this Arduino. And then that trade study looks real good, Hamza. Yeah, active communities is important. Alright, so that looks good, and the trade study looks good. The risk matrix, did you have anything else to add on there?
No, that looks fine. Actually,
Okay. Okay, that's a good point, Abdul. Alright, so we'll add that one, and then we'll move on to the telemetry block diagram, which is the next slide, slide 32. Does that make sense to everybody, and does it look correct? Dr. Bering had me edit it earlier. I thought DXCL would have analog inputs, but it's not going to have analog inputs. It's only going to have digital. And the XCL does not have an internal battery, is my understanding, right?
yep. So
So
internal.
move that box outside and then rename it as payload battery.
Okay.
Alright. Does the signal emitter make sense? Like, is that a thing? Am I using the correct terminology?
Signal emitter.
Yeah.
That's just a transmitter, right?
Well, so I'm trying to get into how the transmitter works and the different parts of the transmitter. If possible. If it's not possible, then I guess we won't worry about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Alright. Then slide 33. I guess nobody here did telemetry research.
Nope.
So I put something on here that I did previously. I guess that's still relevant. Don't know.
Okay. Cool. Add in something there. Well, I guess I'll add in something later. Put in a note to add Yagi. Like, make a new bullet point. It says note, add Yagi. And then I'll take care of that later. Telemetry trade study looks good. Cool. Telemetry risk matrix. Risk matrix, or the telemetry risk 3 is not an actual risk. It's a placeholder for a risk that I put in for somebody else to make. So either add one there or just make that 3 instead of 4. So if anybody can think of one right now, or if Hamza, did you add one additionally? Was there already a fourth one there?
Wait, where does 3 lie?
Wow, Arian, that's rude of you to mute me. I don't even know if he's still awake. Are you with us, Arian, or no?
Almost.
Oh, that's fine. That's no worries at all. You could also mute your speakers instead of me. I'm just saying. Because I think it mutes me for the whole group. Alright, I'll handle that later, Abdul.
Okay. Okay, I don't hear anyone. Is it muted or?
Okay, so we're basically going to skip the power section because Chris is going to work on that. And we're going to move on to slide 41, which is the prototyping section. And so the prototyping section identifies what components and connections need actual testing. Not everything gets prototyped, although I feel like everything on our project will get prototyped. That's just, that second bullet is something that was included in the template, so I left it in there. And then prototypes are used to address risks. That's what they're for. So
Okay.
slide 42, take a look at that and see if it makes sense. So if you were NASA and you're going to give me some money to do this stuff, do you have any questions about my prototyping plan?
Nothing I can think of right now.
So y'all would give me money if I gave you this.
Probably.
Alright. Can you put the action column in the VLF listener row, make that text red, where it says develop a prototype discussion? Okay, and then project management plan, slide 44. If you don't have a picture next to your name, send me a picture of you or come into the lab tomorrow at before 11. So everyone except Daniel Canales has their picture in, so it's not as big of a deal. Did I make any mistakes? Did I spell anybody's name wrong?
On my computer doesn't show Megan or Erica.
Yeah, neither of them gave me a picture, so it's not in there. And they weren't there when I took the pictures of everybody.
That's fine.
I could have sworn y'all took a picture of me at one time or another.
I don't have it on my phone, so I don't know what happened to it. We can try again tomorrow morning if you're going to be in before 11.
Uh,
Or not.
well,
I don't think it's a big deal.
I'll take a picture right now and send it.
Well, no, because I don't want it to be a selfie. I want it to be something
Professional.
something that you would put on LinkedIn.
Probably
So,
don't everything.
alright, so the organizational chart is pretty okay. I need to add in some stuff, but that's something that I'll handle. Then there's the Gantt chart on the next slide, slide 45. This is kind of what y'all's individual Gantt charts should look like. And does anybody have any questions about this one or see anything that's wrong about this one? I'm going to need to update it and put it in for today because it has a line on there that shows when today is. And we'll be all the way up to that line right after July 6th by tomorrow. So there's going to be some. The red stuff is things that should have been done by now but aren't completely finished. So. And then the work breakdown schedule. I don't super understand what this is. I just kind of made things up. So y'all look at this and see if it makes sense to you. Like if I was going to say, hey, you guys are going to be on this project, here's the work breakdown schedule, would you join this project? Alright. I guess nobody has any input or anything.
nope.
Okay, the next slide is the budget. Daniel Emercio, are you around? You should be here. I know you said you were taking a test. And then also, everybody take a look at the numbers on here. And if you see something that's for your part and the number looks wrong in the budget, so there's a status column which tells us whether or not we've ordered it or received it. There's the each column which says what the price for each part is. And as you can see, I said the Arduino Mega is $100. Is that correct? Roughly?
Zero Mega is $100. I don't think.
Is it more or less?
The Arduino you're talking about?
Yeah,
That would
the
be
Arduino
less.
Mega.
It's 64.
Right, so 100 is fine. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
And then the weather shield and SD shield and GPS shields, how much do they cost? Roughly.
GPS.
Like, is $30 a good estimate if you were going to go to the store and you said, I don't know how much this is going to cost, but $30 will cover it?
GPS shield alone is $50.
Alright, so we need to change that column to 50.
Well, alone. I'm not
Right.
sure how much the.
So if the GPS shield is 50 and the other two are 20, then 30 is a good average. But if the other two are also 50, then we need to bring it up, obviously.
$40? I don't know.
Yeah, so I'll just change that to 50 each. And then the GPS connectors. Does anybody know what that is? What I'm talking about when I say GPS connectors?
Jumper wires.
Alright, how much is that?
I don't know. $4.
Wait, are you talking about stack headers?
I don't know.
I mean, those pins you put on the Arduino to attach the shield?
I probably
No.
have.
That's not what I'm talking about. I don't think.
I think she's talking about jumper cables because that's how the GPS is going to be connected. The
Oh, so,
GPS.
so what I'm talking about is the. So there's the GPS shield, and then there's basically an extension antenna, and those two things don't connect right now.
Oh, the SMA cable. That's only $3.
All right, so put $10 in that category, and then quantity 1, or do we need more than 1?
It's already on the order sheet. Just somebody has to sign it.
All right, so are we ordering 1 or more than 1?
I wrote down 1, but we can order more than that.
I don't know how many
How
we
much?
should order. I
We
just need to
don't
know
need
how
more
many
than
you
1.
think we should order.
We don't really need more than 1, but Dr. Bering always say order an extra one, so I
All
guess
right,
we can order.
so put in 2. And then transmitter and connectors. If we're buying that whole package with the transmitter and the connectors and everything, how much would that cost? That's the $1,100, or is it more than that?
That's $1,100.
$1,100.
All right, put $1,200 in there because we have to pay for shipping too. And then put 1 in the quantity. And have we paid them yet? Do you know?
We've paid them $800, not $11,
Okay.
for just a transmitter.
Okay, that's fine. So budget should still be there, but the point that we've actually spent is $800, so don't worry about it. Ground station is free, because we're going to use Dr. Leffer's. So 0 and 1. IMET R, does anybody know how much the IMET R costs?
Had no idea.
Alright.
Erica probably knows.
Dr. Laffer has it, I guess. Receiver and antenna.
Abdul, instead of putting spaces in there, can you change the justification at the top?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that looks fair.
Okay. Alright, batteries. How much does anybody know how much we are planning to spend on batteries and how much we have spent so far?
Let me try to remember. It's about, I'd say $100.
For all the batteries?
Yeah.
Alright. So just type in 100 and type in 1 for
That's just for one
batteries.
type of batteries. For the Arduino type, it should be another 50 or 100.
So you're saying that's how much we've spent so far is 100?
Yeah.
Okay, so Abdul, leave out information for the IMET R. For the VLF prototype, type in $400 and put 1. And just type in 401, and then I'll change it to $ signs and everything later. And then batteries, type in 50 and 4. Alright, and then everybody check your information in the contact matrix on the next slide. Check that it's right.
Wait, so VLF prototype was what? I'm sorry?
401.
Okay. And I'm at...
I didn't know. Okay, it is me. Alright. I knew I had too few people, Ariane. I just wasn't sure who I was missing. So I'll add you in tomorrow. Thank you for being here and telling me. Alright, and then the last slide is supposed to be the conclusion, which is alright, so we did all the research and this is what we think we should do. Now what are we gonna do next? And oh man, that is kind of true though. A little bit true. It's not that I left you out part, but the first part. Okay, so after that, does anybody have any final input, questions, comments, things that we need to talk about before we go?
Nope.
'Cause I'm pretty much done. That's all I have for y'all.
Alright. I'll see you guys around.
Yep.